What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So today we're gonna be working on the STI, and I got some pretty cool seats to install for us. So this is the base STI. It's a 2013 STI hatchback, and it's not the limited. So it didn't have the sunroof, doesn't have the full leather seats, and then there's a couple other little things. So my friend David, who you can check his Instagram out in the description below, it's Spoolin on Instagram. He's got a pretty sweet STI. He's actually the one who came through and gave me these leather seats. We're gonna be swapping seats. So he's gonna be taking these Alcantara ones and putting them in his GC, I believe. And then I'm gonna be putting the leather STI seats that came off of a limited GR STI into this car. The nice thing is they are both heated, so it shouldn't really mess anything up electronically. The only thing we gotta be cautious of is the airbags. So let's get right into today's video with a little cold start of the STI. So here are the seats. I've got them all laid out in the right orientation to go inside the car. But we'll kind of look over the driver's seat. It's still got the STI red letter stitching, which I really like. It's gotta have that. But as you can tell, like, this is all leather, all this is leather, all this right here is leather. The side bolsters are the exact same. They still have this like different leather material with the red stitch. So I think it's gonna look nice in the car. The back seats, also the same thing. It's still got this like same side bolstering. Just the center section up top and on the bottom and on the top is all leather. These seats aren't totally perfect, but neither are the ones in that car. So I'm not too worried about it. I think that these are still gonna be a nice little upgrade. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna clean these seats off with some leather cleaner and conditioner, get them nice and ready to go back into the car, so I don't have to worry about that down the road when they're all installed and I'm like, oh, I should have cleaned the seats. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, and after that we'll get to kind of removing the Alcantara seats out of the STI. We got the seats cleaned off with Lexol leather cleaner. Now we're gonna go ahead and switch over to the conditioner. My arm's getting tired. So I'm all done cleaning and conditioning the seats. It did take a couple passes with the leather conditioner because I don't think these things have ever been conditioned before. So they needed to absorb a little bit more. But now they look super nice. They're really soft. Pretty stoked on that. So let's go ahead and get started on installing these guys. The only thing is now I gotta disconnect the battery on the Subaru because I don't know if there's any airbags in these seats. I doubt it. But it has a little tag here on the side. It says SRS airbag, so I'd rather not mess around with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery and leave that disconnected for about 5 to 10 minutes before I start pulling the old seats out. Oh, and while I was cleaning them, I noticed, dude, there's a rip. That's not a big deal. It's like way down by the foot. I don't know how this would have happened, but that sucks. So here are the two driver's side seats out of the car. We have the Alcantara here on the right and the full leather on the left. So you can tell that this is clearly Alcantara, or suede, I guess is probably the better term for this one. It does have a little more red accents because it's got the stitching right down the center on these, as opposed to the full leather does not. But we'll check the butt test here. Alright, so these are the seats that I have had in the car since I bought it, almost 2 years ago now. Pretty soft. The only thing is it's really hard to slide around in these seats if you're like trying to like adjust your butt in the seat while you're driving. And these, whoa. They're not as cushiony little bit harder, but definitely comfortable. I'm gonna be honest, the suede ones are definitely softer, but these have more support on the back. So one benefit of removing your seats is you kind of get a look underneath your seats, because this area is not often accessible to clean very much. So we got some weird stuff. We got obviously rocks, dirt, debris, whatever. Gum wrappers. A lot of this stuff is probably not for me, just because, what the heck is that? Like a chocolate covered raisin? That's weird. Factory sub, like this. The brand new Tacoma I just bought does not have one of these, so this thing sounds actually pretty good for stock, mostly because it's right under your seat. But anyway, here is the 3 connectors that you have to disconnect when you take your seat out. Like I said, make sure your battery is disconnected a long time before, because which one of these is, one of them seatbelt obviously, the other one is probably the weight sensor, and the other is going to be the airbag. I don't know. Those are just guesses to me, but definitely safe to make sure your battery's disconnected before you start unplugging things. So before we put the new seats in, I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum all this up and get this nice and clean. All right, hit me up if you want your seat delete. It's way easier to fall asleep in the car. A little bit harder to hit the clutch and stuff. The shifter is a little far, but you know, I think you can reach it. I think it's probably chill like this. The only like major bad thing is you just really can't see over the dash, so not recommended for people under 6'2". First seat is all installed. Looks way better with it matching like the leather in the steering wheel and like the other leather things like in the door and whatnot. I think it just looks a lot cleaner and more luxurious with the full leather seats. I did sit in them, and this may just be me, but I feel like you sit at a different angle in the leather seats, and I kind of like it. It's really hard for me to describe. We'll take it on a little test drive and I'll see if I can describe it a little bit better, but for now, I'm liking it. So the next thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna reconnect the battery and kind of let the car idle for a second, and I just wanna make sure that I don't get any like fault codes, because I did just reconnect these sensors, and I wanna make sure that these seats are gonna work 100% and not have any issues. So before I go ahead and install the rest of them, I just wanna make sure that this driver's seat is gonna work just fine. So there were no issues with that driver's seat. I checked the seatbelt clicking, make sure the light turns on the dash, and make sure it goes away when I'm clicking the seatbelt. Made sure there's no airbag lights on. Kind of moved the seat back and forth, did all that kind of stuff, and it works totally great. So I'm gonna proceed and install the rest of these seats, and hopefully it doesn't take me too long. So one thing that I am having to switch over is gonna be the seatbelt. Like the receiving clicker thing. Basically it's just like a 6-point, unbolt that, and the wiring just runs underneath, and you take out one of these plugs here and it just pops off of this metal bracket, and then you can just feed it onto the new seat. Now the back seats are going to be a little bit of a different story. The bottom is actually kind of difficult to get to. Once you pop up the center, there's just like a clip, you pop it up, and then you can reach under here for that bottom seat panel, and this is actually like a release lever that you actually have to get under there with your fingers and pull it out, and then the seat will release, and that's going to be on each side. As you can see over here, there's these hooks on each side, and that's going to be where you're going to need to release, and the center one is just a clip that you can just pop out on your own. As for the back, it's going to be a little difficult to get in there because this has to be folded all the way forward, and then underneath here there's actually a bracket that's supposed to attach to this side and another one on that side, and then there's also one right in the center, and that's what I'm working on right now. So I got the seat backs in. This is probably the more complicated part of the whole install. The way to fully remove these seat backs is you're going to want to objectively remove this like 70% side over here. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold all these down. There's going to be a little black bracket that's like this on the back side. You're going to take those two out. They're two 12mm bolts. And that's going to allow you to lift this seat off of this one. And then from there you can slide it out of the socket on that side. And then you can do the same thing on this side by removing this bolt and then the other bolt on the other side of this bracket behind the seat, and then you can slide this 30% side that way and out. So now lastly, you got to put in the seat bottom, making sure that I get all these seat belt buckles up, and then that's pretty much going to be it. As for the front, I like the leather a lot up here. I think it just matches a lot better with a lot more of the black and red stitch leather surfacing, because there's really no other Alcantara inside the car than there was just on the seat, because the door cards are leather, so just kind of goes better with the leather seats up front. But that's pretty much it for the install. I'm gonna go out, just drive the car a little bit, kind of enjoy the new modification. So I just completed driving the car around for a little while, and I've got it parked now. And I like the leather seats way more. These things are a lot more comfortable. They're not as squishy as the Alcantara, but you're able to like slide around and stuff if you want to like reposition yourself, which to me is like a big deal, because I just can't sit still like the entire time driving. So it's kind of nice. And the leather, it does suck when it's hot out. I know that because like your back's gonna want to stick to it, and like it just generates more heat and holds more heat. I mean, it also could be the fact that the Alcantara seats had the total miles that this car has on it, and these leather seats only came out of a car I think with 60,000 miles. So these are fresher seats, but fresher is better. So I'm gonna say I prefer the leather over the Alcantara. Let me know what you guys think in the description down below. Let me know if you'd rather have the Alcantara or the leather. But I think that's pretty much going to be it for today's video. Make sure you guys comment and like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.